Hey everyone, happy holidays. I'm your host, Connie, and today I wish you a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate it because it is the final part of our holiday special. And to all of you who celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Yule or whatever else, I hope you have a very happy holidays as well, even if you don't celebrate anything. I hope you have a great time of the year. I hope it's just amazing for you, no matter what you celebrate or not this time. But again, for those who do celebrate, it is Christmas Eve today, and I hope that you have a great Christmas Eve and a great Christmas Day tomorrow. Today we're doing, like I said, the final part of our 2023 holiday special and the last video on this channel for the year. This is the happiest season. So this is our final movie for the holiday special. I don't really know what we're getting into here. All I know is I know this one for sure is gay. Unlike the last one, which tricked me with Neil Patrick Harris and Google being, a dirty liar. I know for sure this one is gay because I don't remember much about what the poster looks like. I have not seen the poster since I put together the video announcing what the holiday special would be. That was like at the very end of October, beginning of November. But I remember the poster I saw, I think had like two women together, like in the front of it. I believe. Again, it's been a while, or maybe that was like from another image I saw when I was like getting the poster. But I believe this is pretty gay. So this should align with our theme of this year, holidays and everything. Um, again, with the last one, it just Google tricked me because I looked up queer holiday movies, and that one came up, and it was not. The only queer part was Neil Patrick Harris being in it. And that's just because he himself is gay, but his character wasn't even gay. So it's just like, I was just lied to. But our first movie of the year, Single All the Way, was pretty queer, having a gay male couple. And this one, if it does indeed have a gay female couple, hey, we got some split representation there as well. Unfortunately, non-binary representation is still way too rare in media. It would be really hard to find that, and it's also going to be hard finding trans representation in a lot of this media. So, unfortunately, we can't get everything, but at least we have something. At least we get some queer holiday movies to celebrate with. So, I don't know if I saw who was in this when I got the poster and everything, but I don't remember. I don't remember at all, so I don't really know anything going into this. I don't remember if I even found out who was in this before. Um, but I'm definitely interested to find out. I've been in a really good mood this season. I've been having a great time with these holiday films, so I'm definitely interested in keeping that jolliness going. Not really much else to say though, because this is pretty blind, so we're just going to get into this and hope for the best. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, to get this out of the way, I've talked about before, and I think I talked about it with Single All the Way, on how the entire very stereotypical holiday film happy ending can sometimes get in the way of the story. because you have a good story that could tell a very good message, but you have to force in a happy ending that is so fairy tale that everything works out. Everything works out to the point where it's just not really entirely realistic. And the thing is, a lot of this movie did carry a lot of realism. And that's why I had that big rant in there. That was fueled because of how into it I was getting, how invested in these characters and the stories I was getting. That big old rant about why I think this relationship was failing. But this movie had to force in a happy ending where literally everything worked out. And it just felt forced. And it's even just beyond the entire thing with just the Abby and Harper getting back together. It's even more than just that. Literally everything works out. Like, even despite giving up on that endorsement and everything, the dad even still becomes mayor. The dad becomes everything works out. And that's just not realistic. The parents both ending up realizing they were in the wrong and realizing that they were destroying their family through their like over intense perfectionism. It's like a lot of people not only don't realize this, but even if they do, just don't give a shit and don't change. When there's this much tension and stress between family, a lot of times the family doesn't just make up. To the point where these sisters who were always at each other's throats are just suddenly best friends, basically. That just doesn't happen. And yes, you do have to bring in Abby and Harper's relationship too. Just the fact that literally this relationship should have been over. The instant Harper denied her and denied her own sexuality, but also denied Abby's, humanity practically. When she was outed, and again, I do not condone the outing, but when she was outed, the fact that was her response, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't think I could have ever forgiven her for that. Or at the very least, even if I did forgive her for it, I would have never been able to be with her again. After everything that's happened, just coming up to you and saying, I don't care what my family thinks after all of that, it's like, that's not enough. And on top of it, it almost looked like Abby had to be coerced into agreeing to it by John. Like, she literally looked over to him as if to say, like, should I do this? Should I give her another chance? And he made a notion to her to do so. It's like she literally had to be convinced just to take her back. That doesn't come across as super healthy. And I'm not saying this just because I think that Abby and Riley should have ended up together or anything like that. I acknowledge Abby and Riley had great chemistry. I acknowledge that. Aubrey Plaza and Kristen Stewart just had great chemistry on screen together. I'm not saying that they needed to get together, though. Even if I did bring that up and joke about that as an idea earlier in the film. But there is by no means a reason she had to stay with Harper at that point. There is nothing that should have made her trust her at that point. Honestly, when Harper tried apologizing and admitted it and came out like in the living room and everything, when Abby said it's too late and left anyway, I was actually really happy for that. That would have been such a good message for the film. That not everything is going to work out, and that when something is messed up to that degree, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be forced to just give it another shot. Your happiness is a priority too. You should not sacrifice that for something that might not work out at this point because of how poorly it went. I know, like, again, holiday movie, it's kind of a requirement that there's a happy ending, you know? You go into a holiday movie, it basically is required to end in a happy way because that's the tone of the season and all. You want the season to bring you joy and hope and wonder. So it's like you go into a holiday movie, you don't want it to depress you in the end. But I kind of want that. I want a holiday movie that's going to be real, that's going to show a relationship just not work out, that's going to show a relationship that falls apart because of stuff like this, that has parents who just don't accept things in the end. And to have the message be something along the lines of that it doesn't matter what happens with anyone else or what other people think, that you can always love yourself and that you don't deserve to be put through terrible situations like that for the sake of others. Messages like that are just as valuable and unfortunately are rare because they're not happy. They're not cheerful. And not just with Christmas movies, with any movie. A lot of directors and writers and whatnot don't want to make movies that deal with that kind of topic because it bums everybody out. Don't get me wrong, there are some directors and writers who do write that kind of stuff. But it's usually not within the context of a rom-com type film. You know, it's not usually going to be within this kind of context and theming and genre. And that's kind of what I started to hope for here. And it's not just disappointment that I didn't get that. I just felt like that happy ending was so forced. And it would have felt more satisfying, more realistic, more believable, more just real for it to go wrong and for things to not work out. It would have been a very sour, sad ending, but it would have worked for the film. If you wanted to have a happy ending like that, then you really needed to take out Harper denying Abby at the at, at the reveal, at the outing. Instead, if you wanted to do it to where you still had the idea of like, oh, it's a lie, the parents think it's a lie, have them make that claim. Like, have the parents call out the sister and say, like, how dare you lie about something like this? Don't make Harper the one who denies it, because Harper, the one being the one that denies it, ruins the relationship. If you want to have this relationship be salvageable in the end and make a happy ending possible, having Harper deny it does not work. Like, don't get me wrong, I believe everybody deserves second chances. But I'm sorry, in a romantic relationship like that, it's like she she shat the bed way too many times in those 5 days to make it work. It's like she was already on her like sixth chance. And I'm so upset about this, I guess you could say, because of how much I enjoyed the movie. I want to make that clear. I very much was enjoying the movie. I was becoming very invested in it, in the stories and the characters and what was happening. I was very invested in this. It was really well done. It was well made. It was well acted. It was well written. It was very cliche in a lot of places, yes. Even beyond just the happy ending being forced in. But there were a lot of cliches, but I don't feel like any of them really took away from anything. It's kind of like Single All the Way, where it's like, yeah, this is a very cliche holiday romantic film, except it's gay. That's the big change happening here. That's the big difference. Um, the gay aspect of it is on full display, and it's a part of the story and everything. But a lot of the tropes, a lot of the story beats and all are what you would expect for a typical holiday romantic movie. Um, so there's very much a similar vibe to that, and I like that. I like that it seems like a very classic holiday film, just with the added it's gay, so that us in the LGBTQ plus community have these kind of classic films for ourselves. Ones that we can connect to a little easier than than a straight heteronormative romantic film, you know? Um, and obviously, again, like people can be in hetero viewed, perceived relationships while being queer. You can be a bisexual woman and be with a man, for example, and that doesn't make you any less bisexual. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But you get you get hopefully what I'm going for. Um yeah, my problem was just that the ending was too neatly wrapped up with a pretty little bow on top. It was too perfect. It was too nice, too happy. And I wouldn't have said that for most other movies. I like happy endings. But this movie, it felt forced. It felt like it didn't belong there. It came out of nowhere. Everything was just resolved super easily without any negative consequences. Literally none. Again, even the father got to be mayor, even without that endorsement. It's like that, he wasn't even like negatively affected by that. There is so much to love about this movie, and that is why the ending just irritates me so much. And yes, part of it is just from a personal perspective, I would not have given her another chance there. I That might sound mean, that might sound harsh, but with the way she was mistreating Abby the entire time they were there, it's like at that point it's just not worth it. Having your heart broken, having your heart manipulated and fucked with that often, just to give again like a sixth chance to, that's not worth it. You matter too, and you deserve to be happy, and that doesn't mean putting yourself into a situation that has been consistently hurting you over and over again. Throwing yourself back into a relationship that has, let's be honest, been a little bit abusive in these past 5 days. That is not that's not okay to do to yourself. And I'm saying this from the perspective of, again, myself. I would not want to be putting myself back into that relationship. After being put through that much pain, why would I want to put myself back into the position that gave me that pain? Why would I want to do that again? I feel like that would be just the completely opposite direction I'd want to go at that point. Maybe I'm cynical. I don't know. Maybe I'm too cynical. Maybe I'm a hypocrite for calling out Dan Levy's character for being cynical. I don't know. But I just feel like she was given way too many chances there and shat the bed way too many times. And that final straw that broke the camel's back was way too breaking to deserve a second, or again, a sixth or so chance at that point. I just don't feel like she deserved to be taken back. And I mean, obviously it worked out. They did get married and everything. But again, it's just that kind of goes into the forced fairy tale like ending that just didn't feel earned or deserved. I know it's the holiday season. I should be happy. I should be like, just I should let it go and just remember it's a holiday movie. It's going to have a happy ending. It's kind of the law. It's the rules. Holiday movies have to have happy endings. But it's just, I think part of it is because like I've shared before that I've not been in a full relationship in my life. That I've only been on a handful of dates. I turned 32 on January 2nd. And I've never been in a full relationship. And one of the people I've dated, one of the only two people I've dated, and the only one that I've ever been on more than one date with, ended up being a very toxic person who lied about his mother dying in order to gain sympathy points. Not to me specifically, but to other like mutual friends we had. He was lying about this to multiple other mutual friends of ours to gain sympathy points and whatnot. And I cut him off completely. I confronted him about it. I talked to him briefly about it. And then I cut him off. I told him that this is not going to work out even as a friendship. That nothing's going to work out anything further than that, but it's not going to work out as a friendship because that's just too fucked up. I've been in a situation where I've had to cut off someone who hurt me. Not because of something they even did to me in that case, but imagine how much worse it would have been if it was done towards me. I cut him off because of what he said and what he did towards others. If that had been done directly towards me in any way, like, it would have been the fallout would have been so much worse. So when Abby was going through that, I constantly felt so bad for her. Because I was putting myself in her shoes and imagining what that would be like to go through that. My heart broke for her. Because the amount of pain that would put a person in is insane. It's like you try to just look at this as a fun holiday film that's going to have a happy ending because it's a holiday film, but if you look at it like, how would you respond to this? It's like, I just, at least personally, can't reconcile with that. That kind of thing would crush me. And I don't think I would be able to accept going back into a relationship with a person who did that to me. I I know these afterthoughts have been pretty much nothing but this. But this was kind of the biggest takeaway, the biggest thing I took from this film, the biggest thing that impacted me from this film. Like I said, there was a lot of great acting, a lot of great moments, just a lot of fantastic stuff in it. I really enjoyed this movie. I got really invested in the characters. But that ending just really did not work for me. And again, might just be me. Might just be my cynical side coming out. Might just be me speaking from personal views on it. But that's what that's what this channel's built on. To be fair, this is a reaction channel where I share my genuine thoughts on shows, movies, YouTube videos, whatever I'm reacting to. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be entirely honest about whatever I'm watching. If something bothers me, I'm going to make that clear. And I'm going to state why, and I'm going to just address that. Because it's just not fair to you guys, to everyone watching this, otherwise. For me to lie or anything, for me to sugarcoat things, wouldn't be right. So I want to make it clear how much I, again, did love this movie, but how much the ending really bothered me. Unlike some other movies I've watched this year, such as Rise of the Guardians, yeah, which you would have seen yesterday, as of when you're watching this, if you're watching this the day it comes out. Unlike that, this will not be on my seasonal rotation simply because of that ending. I might watch it once or twice more. Maybe I'll check out and see what other people think of it. But yeah, I don't think I can make this a consistent thing for this season or beyond. It's just going to upset me too much. I just feel that romantic relationships are important and should be taken seriously. And if someone hurts you, especially to that degree, they don't deserve to be given all of these extra chances. You have to know when to break it off. When to acknowledge that you've just been hurt way too much and that you can't just give another chance. This is how people end up in really toxic relationships and get mistreated. And again, I'm not saying that necessarily that would happen here, but it could. So just everything working out, everything just being wrapped up in a perfect little bow, it just felt unrealistic and unbelievable and just not right for the movie based on everything else we were getting. I'm not saying that everything had to be terrible in the end. You could have had a couple things work out. But to have literally everything work out, it just doesn't feel right. In fact, I think it would have been better if you're going to have them get back together. And here's a fix: if you're going to have them get back together in the end, have her realize that her parents are not going to accept her. That Harper's parents are not going to accept her. That her parents are not going to give up on their perfectionism for this, and even have them say so. And have Harper leave them. Have Harper leave them and not see them again. Have her just, leave them behind and choose Abby instead. That would at least be better proof that she could be given, that she would be worthy of another chance. If she did that, if she left her entire family behind for good, to where it's like, oh, the issue isn't resolved with the parents, where they don't accept her, the sisters don't just automatically make nice from then on, and stuff like that. The father doesn't get his mayoralship. But in the end, the two main characters get back together and realize that they are what matters to each other, and that they are each other's true family in this situation. That would have been so much better. If they had done that, I would have been all for it. And that would have been especially for the massive queer themes of this movie, because obviously there's a lot of things that are parallels to coming out just as queer in general, which obviously is a part of the film. Coming out is a massive part of the film. But, there's a lot of parallels even with just the other stuff that's parallels to a lot of the queer experience, you could call it. So if they had that kind of ending, which would be very realistic for queer people to go through, I think it would have worked a lot better. It would have worked a lot better. Because that would have actually been, a sign that she would be worthy of giving another chance to, because that would have been a showing of how much Abby means to her. Instead, just showing up in the car and just saying, like, I don't care what they think, that's not enough. That's not enough. It's just not. So I'm sorry if I'm leaving you off on this year on 2023 with a little bit of a sour note on this reaction. Like I said, I loved this movie, but I had to get this. This had to be how I approached the afterthoughts, because this was my biggest takeaway from the film. It was the thing that, that affected me the most in the end emotionally, so it's what I had to talk about. Sorry if that seems like a downer way to ring out 2023, but just hope you're ready for 2024, because we're going to get to some awesome stuff. We're going to have a great time. Things are going to go awesome. Won't be as much of a downer. I mean, there'll still be reactions that have a little bit of a downer mood to them, but, just overall, we'll have a more happy overall vibe to the channel. I know what I'm saying. I can articulate things, totally. Tell me your thoughts on this movie, not only related to that, but just to everything about the movie, too. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And once again, I hope you all have a very happy holidays, no matter what you're celebrating, or even if you're not celebrating anything specific at this time of year. I hope your season is filled with awesomeness. So for the time being, thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you for watching the channel in 2023. For now, I'm Connie, and for the last time this year, I'm signing off. See y'all in 2024.